Alright, so let's take a look at Game 3 between Team Liquid and Navi in the raid called Dota 2 League, run by the Evil Genius Source organization and primarily commented on by AC and Draskell. And this game is important for Team Liquid. And not really in a tournament-based sense, and certainly not important for Navi in a tournament-based sense, because I think the raid called Dota 2 League is still in its pretty early stages, so both teams could lose and still be fine. But it's more important for Team Liquid in a almost a political or a psychological sense. The question being asked of Team Liquid in the community, implicitly if not explicitly, is, are you for real? Can you hang with the best teams? Or will you sort of enter the second tier of teams that are good, but really not able to compete with the top teams in their region? And Navi is the test ground for, can you compete with the top teams in your region? Can you compete with, a team that for a very long time was the best team in the world and still has a decent claim to the title of one of the best teams that are out there? And so in the first game of this 3-game series, it seemed like Team Liquid's answer to that was no. They essentially got outdrafted, outsmarted, outlaned, and outplayed. And so Navi just looked completely dominant, completely able to just take out Team Liquid and just better in every position. But in game 2, we saw a reversal of the situation. Team Liquid put together a very strong team composition. They had a good plan in mind, and they were able to play very, very well on an individual skill level and really hang with Navi. And so as we head into the third game, I think Team Liquid have made a good case that they are able to take games off the best teams to do well. But it would be even more convincing if they actually took this series off of Navi. So a lot rides for them, I think, psychologically on this game. If you beat Navi on such a stage, then you're for real. You've made it. There are a lot of teams that are quite good in the European scene and have never beaten Navi. They just on the main stage. I mean, maybe in scrimmages, but in a tournament situation, they just have never beaten Navi. And so if you can take yourself out of the clump of people who have never beaten Navi into the clump of people who have beaten Navi, that's quite a substantial difference. Let's talk about the draft. I'm sorry for rambling on there, but I just thought it was important to sort of set the stage here. Pretty similar draft to the last few. Navi actually bans out Undying and Chen. Chen is very rarely seen in the first bans, but I think they felt that Team Liquid utilized him so well in the previous game that they decided to take him out. And then they pick up Darkseer as their first pick. This frees up Magnus and Keeper of the Light, strong support, and that additional Magnus that did so well in the second game for Team Liquid. Navi then picks up Queen of Pain, strong Dendi hero. Maybe they feel that Dendi's hasn't been getting the ideal heroes that he's wanted in the past 2 games, so they're going to give him Queen of Pain this time. One of his specialty heroes since going way back. And then they pick up Lifestealer. Sorry, excuse me. So they're going to keep relying on that Lifestealer, most likely putting Quost on it. And then Team Liquid, meanwhile, takes up the Gyrocopter. Went very, very well for them, putting Korok on it last time. It became very dominant over. They created a lot of space for him to get big, do a ton of damage, get good items, and they're going to just try to do it again. We went into the second ban phase after that. Navi takes out Bane, Tidehunter, and Beastmaster. Rare that we see the Tidehunter ban, really rare, but, it was very effective for TL last time. He didn't get dominated too much in the solo lane, and once he was able to sort of pop those Ravages and really get that additional AoE teamfight disable, it was just a great combination with the Gyrocopter damage, and it sort of generated just this extreme further threat of disabling that created space for the Magnus to land his disables perfectly. Meanwhile, TL takes out some of Navi's lately favored heroes. They take out the Sand King, that's strong AoE teamfight and strong disable potential. They take out the Wisp, great hero for Puppey. Lots of mobility, lots of ability to counter push or get kills in alternate places, and an amazing combination with Lifestealer as well. And they take out the Rubik. So another strong support option that Arzark could play. One of the best supports currently available in the pool. This, however, frees up Navi to take Shadow Demon. So the other support that TL used to such good effect in the last game. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So in the last game, TL used this early roaming Chen and Shadow Demon to really generate space early for the Gyrocopter. So he was able to get a solo lane's worth of XP, great farm, and now we really weren't able to contest him in the early game, which meant that he transitioned to the mid game with quite a bit of power already baked into him. So with the move of securing the Shadow Demon for themselves and banning the Chen, Navi ensure that TL have to sort of think of a different game plan to do that. And TL end up picking up the Enigma. So it really seems like TL really likes this mass disable. So in the last time, they picked up the Magnus and the Tidehunter, and this time they pick up the Magnus and the Enigma. Another reason why this Enigma is actually very, very strong is this was a very good option for Navi for their 5th pick. They could do something like Darkseer solo lane, Queen of Pain mid, Lifestealer and Shadow Demon, and then Enigma in the jungle. And that would have been potentially devastating because it gives you that huge disable, paired with the Darkseer, paired with the fact that Queen of Pain just does so much damage to people that are localized and disabled. This, I think almost certainly this is what Na'Vi were counting on as their 5th spoiler pick. But Na'Vi goes to the Enigma well so often that you can sort of predict that they're going to do it and get it right out from under them. So even though Liquid uses up all of their pick time to actually decide on that, I think this was a very, very strong pickup for them. It really denies what Na'Vi wanted to put as the capstone to their game plan, and also as a sort of a Magnus counter. Additionally, the other plus side of taking this Enigma is now they have 2 ultimates that both disable through BKB. So even though this Lifestealer has Rage to make him immune to most sort of disabling effects and stuns, they've now got 2 ultimates that go right through that. And so this 3.75 to 3.75 plus 4 seconds, like up to 8 seconds of disable on the Lifestealer, that completely takes out his magic immunity. Very, very strong play from Team Liquid to pick up this Enigma, and especially if they get the great farm of Magnus that they got last time. If they were a refresher, that double Magnus plus Black Hole, that's going to be, again, impossible for Na'Vi to deal with in a team-fight situation like. So Na'Vi sort of, I think, understand this. They understand that this Lifestealer is unlikely to go over the top of Gyrocopter plus Mass Disable, and so they pick up Lina. When you pick up... excuse me. I saw a bit of bread stuck in my mouth. It's very unfortunate. So when you pick up Alina, essentially what you're saying is, yeah, we want to go early. We want to fight you early because we've got this. As soon as she hits level 6, she does incredible damage on her ultimate. We will take out your heroes. We will take out your priority targets. We'll have tons and tons of damage from the early to mid game. Lina, there is the alternative of using Lina to sort of develop very late, but I just really doubt that they're going to go with that. They're going to put Puppy on Lina, Light of Heaven as the solo lane Darkseer. They might once again start with Darkseer in the jungle, developing until it gets a couple levels and then coming out in the middle. And Liquid meanwhile picks up Windrunner, so this gives them their solo lane hero. I think they are smartly judging that the Magnus is better put mid than the solo lane. I think the first game taught them that, if nothing else. So they'll put the Magnus in the middle, they'll put the Windrunner on the solo lane, and they'll have the Gyrocopter, Keeper of the Light, as a sort of fit tri-lane-ish situation with the safe lane, with the Enigma in the safe lane in the jungle adjacent to it. So, strong lineup for both teams, I think. Na'Vi, they don't typically rely on Lina, so it's an interesting choice to pick her up. But we'll definitely see how it works out. It does give them a lot of kill potential early. This Lina stun is hard to land because it's on a delay of 0.5 seconds, but it becomes easier to land if you can immobilize people with disruption and then cast the Lina stun just as the disruption ends. It's actually still a little tricky to time, but a player of Puppy's caliber is not going to have a problem picking up and playing the Lina. We get a pause. Puppy might have disconnected, or he's not in the game quite yet, so he'll be taking up the Lina. Gonna have Host on the Lifestealer doing the carry role, and then this Shadow Demon and Lina support, and then Dendi on the Queen of Pain in the middle. I think a lot of this game, I think we have to watch Dendi. So in the first game, Liquid were unable to shut down Dendi. He dominated the middle lane, and once he started to get kills and rolling along, the entirety of Liquid's team fell apart. And that could happen again. It could happen that if Dendi gets a great middle lane, and he's able to blink around and start getting kills, and picking off Liquid's heroes and preventing them from getting any farm, especially the Gyrocopter, Liquid are going to have a very difficult time. So the question is, how is Dendi going to dominate? Or is he going to dominate at all? Because if he's not able to secure early kills with this Queen of Pain, if he's not able to get very good farm and just kill all over the map with her, Liquid are going to be well on their way to getting that mass disable composition. Once they've got the BKB on Enigma, and Na'Vi have nothing that will actually stop him from being able to get his black hole off. One of the downsides to Enigma is that he's got this huge disable on his black hole, but it's channeled. So if you stun him, or you disable him in some other way while he's, excuse me, while he's channeling the black hole, he loses the entirety of that long duration disable. So it's going to be a big challenge to Na'Vi to make sure that they keep this Enigma sort of down, keep TC oppressed, so that he can't actually get that farm. He can't actually get that BKB and that blink in a timely fashion. Because once he does, Na'Vi will have to be dancing around that constantly. And while they're dancing around that, it becomes more and more difficult to also be avoiding the Magnus reverse polarity. So definitely a scary composition from Team Liquid here. I'm going to go cough a little bit. I'll be right back. Sorry, I'm back. We had a little bit of an issue there where I was choking to death, but I'm mostly better now. Actually, maybe I'm not better. Maybe I'm still choking to death. We'll see. I just didn't want you guys to hear me coughing as the entire cast, so I decided to take a quick break just to de-choke myself to death and then come back. Alright, so like I was saying when I left, a lot rests on Dendi's shoulders this game, because the challenges to Navi are thus. A, Bulba had the time of his life last game. He ended up 10-0-11. He got his refresher and blink very, very early, and he was able to utterly dominate the game. You lived in fear of his reverse polarity the entire time. It was just very, very dangerous. So, A, Dendi has to win mid. He has to beat Bulba in the middle. Bulba's going the exact same build. He's got the Tango, the three Iron Branches, trying to get the bottle as quickly as possible. Win mid. Also, make sure Enigma doesn't develop too much in the jungle. Once you win mid, maybe the lane is consistently around here, you can pierce into this jungle, try to kill the Enigma. Make sure that the Enigma doesn't get his BKB early, doesn't develop very, very quickly to be able to black hole your team. Those are things that only Dendi can do. He can get the support of a roaming Shadow Demon and a support Lina, which will do a lot of damage in their own right. But the leader of those kills has to be Dendi. Hvust will get his farm. He will get his farm, and he will be substantial to your fate in teamfights later on. But he almost isn't that important in this game. Whether Hvust does well or poorly will have very little effect on the outcome of this game. What will have an effect is Dendi. Now, I make this sound like it's going to be like a really big single point of failure issue. But if you have to have a single point of failure in a video game, in a game of Dota, it's okay to have that be Dendi. Because, you know, in terms of raw talent, it could be argued that he's the best player in the world. Or one of a very, very elite few in terms of best players in the world. So, I mean, if you have to rely on Dendi to carry your game for you, that's okay. But they really do need him to have a strong game. In the absence of major mistakes from Liquid, Dendi needs to have a strong game for them to win this. And he's starting out, he's picked up the Shadow Strike first, just to start right off the bat harassing that Magnus. Right off the bat, get lots of damage on him, try to make sure that he hits the bottle late. That's a good start to winning mid against Magnus. If he hits his bottle late, he is not going to be able to get farm. He is not going to be able to use Shockwave to just kill off creeps. Good kill from there. He actually... Oh, no, already a couple denies already coming up there. Now, Liquid has done something interesting, which is that they actually have the Windrunner up here. So they having not Windrunner solo lane, but a Windrunner hard support. They have the Enigma in the jungle, and they have the Keeper of the Light. So an extremely safe lane for this Gyrocopter here. I think Liquid are saying that they want Gyrocopter to be as safe as possible and get the maximum amount of farm he can. Because I don't think this Windrunner will get very much farm at all here as part of the tri-lane. Now, this is partially the idea that we sort of talked about with the Darkseer and Lone Druid, which is that you... Okay, yeah, so he's going to stack this camp, and instead of doing the traditional tri-lane of, like, letting the lane creeps die to the camp creeps, he's actually going to use this to get his first couple levels. So it's a pseudo-jungling Windrunner to get a couple levels, to actually get up to the point that he can contest this lane. And then, once he gets a few levels, he'll go into this lane. So smart. Sort of, it's exactly what we talked about with the Darkseer and with the Lone Druid, which is you get farm in the jungle any way you can for your first couple of levels, and then you go to the opponent's safe lane to actually contest their tri-lane. So smart play from Fluff here. He does double stack the camp, so you make sure that basically the friendly creeps and the enemy creeps will die sort of similarly to the same time. So it doesn't actually push the lane out that much as it would if you just immediately dominated the jungle camps. Oh wow, and he gets, I don't know if he intended that, but he actually gets the additional set of spawns. So that's incredibly useful for Fluff and stuff. This will actually give him this additional farm that he wants. Meanwhile, Arsar picks up a haste, but he's going to have to travel quite a far afield because there's nobody contesting him in the safe lane here. He would have to travel a long distance to actually get that. So farm for Hvust here, like I said, he's going to get his farm. It's not going to be a problem. He has 15 last hits, the 13 of Korok, still pretty close together. And then we got Papillon Lina supporting Arsart with his haste rune. He is going to... Will he try to kill this Magnus is the question. He is jumping in with his haste. I think just generating space. He's going to run out of haste before he actually has an opportunity to do anything. So, very safe play from Liquid here. They have another... Is this a triple stack? Triple stacked camp here. So this is even more potential farm. They do get the additional pull. So very clever play from Liquid here, with this jungling Windrunner, and they're going to use... The Keeper of Light does so much damage to like stationary targets. This will be even more farm for the both of them. So 4 supports that are... For side lane supports, this Windrunner Coddle combination will let them get levels faster than the opposing team. So you can see Shadow Demon is only level 1, but both of these heroes are level 3 and 2. So 5 levels versus an accumulated 4 levels for the players on Navi. So smart, very smart. And this Shadow Demon really has nothing so far. He's now in the mid, so now they're running sort of a dual mid situation, again, for the purposes of winning this middle lane. Now, Boba does have his bottle. He does have his bottle. It's on the courier, probably. Yeah, it's on his bottle. It's on here. And Soul Ring coming out for Enigma. This is a very typical Enigma item. He really needs that additional mana. He wants to be able to spawn the Eidolons whenever he can. So Enigma sort of taking this half of the jungle, and then Windrunner and Cuddle taking this half of the jungle, with the Gyrocopters getting free farm here. Actually a little bit behind on XP relative to Host, which I find interesting. I think it's maybe because of some of the pulling that they did. Or Host actually probably was able to pick up some of the farm from these games. But nonetheless, both carries developing very, very well, and Enigma developing well. So again, Na'Vi this early, not quite getting those kills yet, not able to secure first blood that early to get a dominant performance, which doesn't mean they're not gonna win. It just means that so far they haven't quite dominated enough to make the case quite that way. Dendi, however, is winning. I mean, he is winning mid, so he does have 22 last hits to the 12 of Magnus, which is a substantial advantage. What he hasn't really gotten is kills yet. And Liquid putting all four of taking their entire tri lane up into this lane. They don't actually have that many creeps here, so this is actually, they're in quite a bit of danger. They're going to take a lot of damage. Windrunner taking up the tower, very, very smart. But here comes Dendi. He's going to blink in. Is he going to blink in? This is against 4 players. It might be kind of dangerous. He eats a stun, and he eats a big Cuddle Blast, but turning it right around with the huge Lina Q. There might have Korok as well. Dendi going to deal... Oh, Korok manages... Nope. He gets taken down by Shadow Demon. On the backside, Fluff and Stuff actually manages to pick up Shadow Demon, so 2 for 2, but Fluff is in a lot of danger here. Dendi might pick up yet another kill. He actually still has he's 7 seconds on the blink, but he could blink right onto Fluff. Will Fluff die? No, he will not. He manages to get most of his healing self to proc through the ticks of that Shadow Strike. So, but big losses for Liquid there, definitely. Losing Korok, very substantial. Losing, just losing that fight, not that great of a situation for them. Even though they trade 2 for 2, it's sort of an unfavorable trade on their behalf. They got caught way past the tower with no creeps. Quite unfortunate, with Dendi sort of on their tail. And great play from Puppey there as well. That Q, that line Dragon Slave, hit every single character that he targeted. And so, very big play for him there. Now, Let of Heaven in a lot of trouble here, but now Na'Vi have their entire team here, and Bulba's in even more trouble because he actually used his Skewer. He has no escape here. Puppey will land the stun. He doesn't have the follow-up just yet. Why is the Courier here? Unfortunate for Bulba there. So, Na'Vi doing great. Darkseer taking a lot of damage up in the back here, but no, he's just jungling. He isn't quite near death. So, Dendi getting more development. Bulba picking up a death. Great situation for Na'Vi here so far. Host really completely unlisted down in the bottom lane here. He actually picks up the tier 1 tower as well. 48 last hits. Now he's substantially ahead of Korok. You can see he's actually gone the Midas, and he already has it, and he's already used it once. He got a 4 or 5 minute Midas. And what that's going to mean is that this Lifestealer's farm is going to rocket ahead of Gyrocopter's farm on even, because you can see the Gyrocopter is definitely not going there. It looks like he's going drums, he's got his phase boots, and he's just going to go fairly standard. And what we could see is a reprise of the Empire. Who were Empire playing earlier today? I don't remember who, or if was it even Empire? Well, whoever. We saw the game earlier today where the Lifestealer just rocketed past the farm of the Luna, and we could see a reprise of that. We could see some trouble with. Was it Empire MTW? It might have been. I'm not sure. Regardless, so this Gyrocopter is going to have a tough time keeping up with the farm of the Lifestealer now that the Midas is also online. And Liquid are certainly not looking to punish that Lifestealer early. They haven't even ventured onto this half of the map. So very smart of us to take that, to play that build, which might be defined as greedy, but it's really not. And Darkseer is now here. He's now ready to sort of contest this lane. Again, Light of Heaven, we talked repeatedly about the fact that he gets a few levels before he comes into this side lane solo, just to make sure that he doesn't get those early deaths. And so, I don't know. It's pretty good for Na'Vi so far. They're pressuring a lot. Dendi actually uses his ultimate up on Bulba in the middle here, but it's not quite enough to kill him off. Too safe and too far under the tower. Dendi actually causes a lot of tower damage as the first trouble. Bulba does have his Skewer. He doesn't have the mana for reverse polarity anymore, and his bottle's out of charges, so that's kind of unfortunate. Picks up that Arcane Boots charge from Fluff and Stuff. You can see that this is you can see the more support-focused Windrunner. You don't go the Phase Boots, you go the Arcane Boots to give your team mana. Smart. But the flip side is you're not quite as fast. You're not quite as able to easily land those shackle shots. Meanwhile, Hwost is now almost pressuring this tier 2 tower. In fact, he's going to do, on this go-round, he's going to do quite a bit of damage to it. No, actually, because he doesn't have melee creeps. He's just going to pick up this last hit. But again, Hwost developing very, very quickly. He's already finished. This time he goes Power Treads. So this is the pure attack speed Lifestealer, not the sort of chasing high damage Lifestealer, but, sorry, high single target immediate damage, but getting the more attack speed, stacking attack speed items. You have the Midas, you have the Power Treads. Currently he's farming the Ancients in the opposing team's camp. One of the good things about Lifestealer is he can farm Ancients a lot earlier than some other heroes can, because Ancients have high HP values. So this Feast, if it's at level 4, returns a ton of health to you every time you smack one of these heroes, one of these mobs. So he gets easy kills in this instance here, and this is going to lift him up even more. Like, even though it's only 3 last hits in that span of time, it's a lot more gold. And so as soon as he uses his Midas, we'll take a look at his net worth, and you'll see that he's just amassed so much more gold to date than Gyrocopter has. Meanwhile, oh, and they pick up the Enigma here. So again, Dendi, I'm sorry for missing this kill because this is actually pretty important. But like I said, this roaming Dendi plus support combo is very, very important for them. Dendi manages to escape no problem. Korok can keep her the light on the chase, but it won't be nearly enough to actually pick up Dendi. He does have only level 1 blink, but it's not meaningful. I mean, this stun will hit, but he's just way too far away already. He is making power treads as well, so another good bit of tankiness, good bit of attack speed for him. And Darkseer getting good farm in the top lane here too as well. I wonder if I have my Navi pennant on. I'm gonna check that real quick. I'm gonna be very, very indulgent and see if I have my pennant on. I don't have my EG pennant on. Should always turn the right pennant on, folks. This doesn't mean I'm cheering for Navi, it just means I want loot. It just means I'm greedy. Alright, so interesting game. So far, I think Navi definitely taking a dominant position. They're Faust is developing extremely quickly. He is going to become incredibly terrifying. And the mission that Dendi had, that he sort of set out to do, like I mentioned, has so far been pretty successful. He's created a lot of space for his team. He's managed to get kills. He only has 3. He has 3 assists, so he's been part of 3 of 4 kills. No kills for himself, but it hardly matters because the main thing is making sure that these heroes don't get development. They're going to use Enigma as their mechanism carrier because they want to get into their mechanism as soon as possible, which does mean that his BKB won't come that early. He has to finish that mechanism completely, and then he has to make stuff on top of that. Puppy sending out that Laguna Blade on Fluff and stuff, not quite enough to kill him, but enough to scare him. And 4 heroes up here for Liquid. Again, very, very defensive, trying to protect Korok. Meanwhile, Hwost really just, you know, farms without a care in the world. He's just using his Midas, killing off these creeps. He's gonna, that Midas activation will come a little slow, but it hardly matters because he's getting so much ancient farm. If we take a look at the gold per minute, Hwost is making more than 500 gold per minute 10 minutes into the game. Like, he is developing so quickly that he's become very scary very quickly. And even Dendi, because he's managed to become part of so many kills, well, meanwhile, he just doesn't even realize that Lifestealer was there. He doesn't use the reverse polarity defensively, which is, you know, you're never tremendously happy when you're using a defensive reverse polarity. Dendi, meanwhile, throws out the ult. Liquid are bringing in 4 heroes here, but this isn't going to do very much either. Why are they shooting that way? I don't know what that horses was all about, but I think in case Dendi decided to jump onto Bulba to finish the job, the Keeper of the Light Illuminate and other damage would be enough to pick him off in return. So actually pretty smart, but Dendi outsmart another level up again, realizing that was going to happen and deciding to back out of that. So I don't think Liquid even knew that Hwost was just consistently feasting on their ancient groups here. But now I think they know. Now with that accidental discovery of Bulba, they know. Meanwhile, Puppy, you know, Windrunner traveling a little bit further afield than maybe he wanted to. Puppy picks up a kill. I thought that was an assist for Hwost, but I guess it wasn't. But at any rate, difficult situation for Liquid here. Like, it seems pretty close, and it's not that far apart yet. But you can see 5,000 gold already for Navi, and a lot of that comes down to the fact that this Lifestealer got this Midas so early, completely without any harassment. He's picking off ancient creeps at his leisure. He should probably stack this camp, will he? Will he stack this camp? No, he won't. He should stack this camp, but he won't. But he's picking up ancient creeps at his leisure, so even though... So he has... Oh, sorry. They do actually pick off Dendi on the... Dendi trying to get more kills. They do pick up TC, so almost worth it there, but they lose 2 people for the privilege. They delay this Enigma some more. He's going to be a little farther away from his mechanism. But the flip side is that they... Oh, where's Darkseer? Oh, he's taking a bit of damage, but he's okay. The flip side, they lose 2. So they lose Dendi, it takes away his farm a little bit. All he really has is a Null Talisman, a Magic Wand, a Bottle, and Treads, which is not bad, but it's nothing special. Faust, meanwhile, continuing to harass this bottom lane, and to deal with Faust at this point, they need to send a lot here, more than just a Windrunner. Like, Windrunner may not die, per se, but she's not going to be able to deny this Lifestealer's farm in a meaningful fashion. He already has his armlet finished. Like, he's already quite a fearsome character, just with the sheer attack speed. He's got the attack speed on the Treads, attack speed on the Midas, attack speed on the armlet. It's just, he deals a lot of damage very quickly, and Navi has almost killed this middle tower as well. So Bulba, I would say, definitely an in-between performance. So he only has 42 last hits, and You know, he's not even near that blink. He's about 1,500 away from it. So definitely not as great, but also he only has 1 death. So not a terrible situation for him either, but nowhere near the dominant performance he put together in game 2. Meanwhile, huge gank attempt on Korok here. The 3 heroes are more than enough to get it. Again, this Shadow Demon Lina combo means that you deal a lot of damage in a confined space very, very quickly. The 30% extra bonus damage that you take from the Soul Catcher, in combination with the Lina stun and her Q, you won't even need the Lina ult most of the time. Just with the Darkseer and the Lina, you can just deal hundreds and hundreds of damage to a character. And Korok in this game is far less developed than he was last game. He's 40 last hits behind Ghost. Oh, Puppy's damage is already quite impressive. Just the Dragon Slave and the Laguna Blade was enough to take out the Keeper of the Light. And this game is starting to get peeled apart by Na'Vi. They are going to get this middle tower in short order. They're going to get this top tower in short order. And they're going to control the map and control the lanes. Meanwhile, Ghost just continues growing and growing and growing. He's almost 40 last hits against Gyrocopter. Big Gyrocopter nuke there. Defensive destruction from Arso just to save himself for a little bit, just to make sure that Liquid has to spend more time killing him. So he dies, and he was always going to die, but he essentially saves the Lina and makes sure the Lina and Darkseer can get away. So Liquid only pick up 1 kill for that. They probably will pick up a tower as well. The Eidolons are up for Enigma. These are going to split up. Actually, they're taking a lot of damage from the tower, so he is going to lose these Eidolons before they get a chance to split, and that's unfortunate. That slows their push speed substantially. They probably will get the tower, but I wonder how deep the price they're going to pay for it is. They get the Darkseer Vacuum. Puppy's just out of range to actually pull off his stun, so they don't manage to chain that together. That's not going to be a successful team fight. They do bring up Ghost. He teleports in. He is going to charge in. They put haste up on Dendi. He's jumping in. He's going to start this team fight. He already puts the E on TC. He takes a ton of damage. Doesn't have his mechanism quite done. He is close. He has a buckler. He only needs about 200 more gold to pick up his mechanism. The stun goes out on Dendi. Let him taking a bit of damage. And here comes Bulba. He reverse polarities. He hits 2 targets. Quite a bit of damage going out already, but Ghost turns right around, dealing a ton of damage. The nuke comes down. The Queen of Pain ult comes. Great shackle from Fluffy amazing angle, but they lose TC on the Enigma as well. And now Fluffy is forced to retreat. He's the only player alive, and all they got was. Did they really just get Dendi? I can't possibly be. Amazing stun from Puppy. Blind stun right into the jungle, and they pick up the Windrunner as well. And that is a wipe for. Did they have any buybacks? Can't tell if they had any buybacks, but it seems like they just picked up Dendi in exchange for basically nothing. I think they got another kill and somebody bought back. Did Forced buy back? No. So very little for Liquid from that fight. The Gyrocopter nuke just not quite there yet. Only level 1. The Na'Vi has their mechanism, whereas Liquid still is going for it. They get pushed a little behind that mechanism threshold by that death on Enigma. He was only 100 away. And now he's, still only 100 away, but it's 100 that you needed before that last team fight. So an extremely substantial loss by Liquid there in that team fight. They lose a tower. They lose 5 heroes. Fusk gets even more developed. He has 3,200 gold on top of all of his items, and it's only about 16 minutes in. It's almost 600 gold per minute. He is just able to hunt people at will now. IX Mike, no shot of living. No ability to defend himself because he can't even blind Ghost away because he's got that rage to become immune to magic. One of the things you can do to defend yourself for a little bit as Keeper of the Light is to pop the ultimate and try to blind people away, but you just can't even do that there. And they got a good reverse polarity in that, but they still don't really have the presence of the black hole to give them additional. This was an unfortunate courier delivery. Na'Vi are going to lose their courier. I don't think it was carrying anything tremendously substantial because Ghost hasn't spent his money yet, but it definitely sucks to lose your courier. You don't want that to happen. Light of Heaven, meanwhile, just putting Ion Shell on a Dendi illusion. Windrunner gets taken down by Puppy. Again, this support Lina is quite high level now. He's level 11, he's got the level 2 ultimate, and he's got this Blink Dagger, which lets him really position and get his stun off and get tons of damage in play. You can see he just blinks in and stuns. He doesn't actually land it, but he's able to deal so much damage. This Black Hole, just on Puppy, almost does nothing. They do pop the reverse polarity, and the Keeper of the Light the Keeper of the Light Horses does quite a bit of damage on top of it, but not quite enough to kill Puppy. And the skewer doesn't land either. Puppy's going to escape out of this. And Dendi's running in and dealing a ton of damage on top of it. So much damage. Dendi dies. But now Ghost is in the picture. And now Ghost is picking off Liquid's heroes one by one. Will IX Mike escape? He does, narrowly. But they're going to lose a tower on top of it as well. So again, they get Dendi and nothing else. And they trade so much for it. They use their black hole. They use their reverse polarity. Liquid's pulling out all the stops for these fights. And it's not enough. It's not enough for them to actually win the fights. It's barely enough for them to deal with Dendi. And Na'Vi just created the space and gave Ghost farm. And he went extremely aggressive with it. He got that 4-minute, 5-minute Midas and just went to town. He has his Desolator now. Lavi are not looking to go long. They are looking to finish this game. They are going for the throat of Liquid, getting this Desolator. This Lifestealer will deal incredible amounts of damage in these fights, and he'll just be the mop-up crew, just like in that last fight. It was Liquid were doing okay. They were getting their stuns off. They were getting their disables, and then Lifestealer comes in and just mops up. He just kills everybody that's left standing for Liquid that weren't already damaged to within an inch of their life by Dendi. Now, they do have the mechanism up on Enigma, which is extremely crucial for them to try to live through this onslaught, but I think they need more. They really do need a little bit more, and this Magnus has been really set back by these last few deaths. Like, he's had to sort of wander around doing damage where he can and participating in these team fights, and as a consequence, he's nowhere near his blink. He only has 1,000 gold right now. He's only halfway there, and he was halfway there ages ago. You can see that his net worth is really, really lagging behind even the rest of his team, like obviously the Gyrocopter, but even the Enigma. And meanwhile, Na'Vi, Puppey is the most valuable person on the map right now. Wait, what? No. Puppey is for some unearthly reason carrying Hvost's Desolator, which doesn't actually work. It's muted on you. I don't know why. He's just walking it over to Hvhost. Oh, I get it. That's actually really smart. Because Navi's courier is still dead and they don't feel like buying another one, Puppey was actually just ferrying. Puppey was the courier. So the fake courier carrying the Desolator over to his carry, which is really funny. Great support play by Puppey there, right? So selfless. So Hvhost, double the value of Gyrocopter, of Korok's Gyrocopter. Double. Korok has not even hit his Shadow Blade yet. And in the meantime, Hvhost is he's well on the way to his next item after Desolator. Astonishing farm from him, an astonishing level of dominance. And I mean, it's not tremendous. Again, whether Hvhost played this game good or bad, it was really going to come down to whether the space was going to be generated for him. And it was. Incredible Lina play from Puppey there. Like, really, really, really strong Lina play. He was everywhere they needed to be. He paired up with his Queen of Pain very, very well. And they were just able to get the kills. And now, at this point, it's almost irrelevant because, Lifestealer can get kills wherever the heck he pleases. Fluffa7 and Korok in a lot of trouble. Dendi does whiff the ultimate, but Korok taking incredible damage for that Lifestealer. This Lifestealer alone is enough to give Liquid conniptions at this point. Boba runs in and has to just run promptly back out, and it's not enough. He does get the reverse polarity, so that's good. He does get Puppey. He won't get Dendi because, again, Lifestealer, too big. Dominating this game. This is over, basically. They're going to take the tier 2. They probably will go on to the racks. Liquid has no solution both to the fact that all of Navi's heroes are dangerous at baseline. Like this Lina, even this Lina can do so much damage to you, and he has been doing an incredible amount of damage that you sort of, you know that you have to focus the supports. Like, you know that you have to. But then there's this Lifestealer just chewing your face off, and you have to sort of save your BKB breaking disables for him. And consequently, Liquid just sort of stretched in a bunch of different directions and really not able to make their game plan work. So, looks like Navi's going to take this series 2-1. I think Liquid performed honorably. They did get one very convincing win in Game 2. But overall, Na'Vi definitely showing why they're the team to beat in the West, in the non-Chinese scene. They're just... all of their players are so good and can generate so many dominant situations all by themselves that it's just really tough, and you really have to worry about everywhere on the map sort of going worse and worse for your team. Haste up on Lifestealer, he interacts so well with that Darkseer haste. If he's able to chase players down, he becomes such a more effective hero, and consequently if they're able to get that... Ooh, Disruption up on Fluff, he's going to have to get out of there. Meanwhile, IX Mike gets taken down by Lifestealer, and he quickly takes that one-shot kill on the Dire Courier. What was it carrying, actually? What was the Courier carrying? I don't know how to actually check that. But definitely lost items for Liquid there. They also lose 2 heroes. Their supports cannot leave the space for fear of Na'Vi just taking them down. What? Yeah, my Fog of War is messed up. Liquid does have very good warding. They sort of know which places are safe and unsafe, and the problem is that basically everywhere is unsafe. Like, yes, they know which places are safe, but very few places are. Na'Vi, meanwhile, is going to take a quick Roche, going to put it right on Hvhost. Makes perfect sense. He actually is done with his Assault Cuirass. He's not worrying about saving any money. His buyback isn't even that expensive yet. He's just going to put stuff on the Courier, deliver it to him, and deal more and more fast auto attack damage. This Assault Cuirass, I think, might be, in terms of items, the nail in Liquid's coffin, because it'll cause him to have even more attack speed. The rest of their team will be even more beefy against the Gyrocopter, and he's on a monster kill. He manages to pick up Enigma in a trivial amount of time. Enigma does not even have buyback, and he used his mechanism. He does still have the BKB for when he comes up, but they may well have lost to Rax by then. Liquid just being run ragged by Na'Vi on this game, and this Dendi absolutely putting together. Even though he doesn't have amazing stats, he doesn't have amazing farm, he did what he needed to do. He and his team, and especially this Arsart Puppy roaming support screw, really good stun there from Fluff and stuff, actually. They will take down the great takedown of the Aegis without having to barter any ultimates for it. Light of Heaven will probably get taken down as well. This Gyrocopter nuke is going to hit. And the Keeper of the Light Q, very, very strong there. They managed to take down 2 heroes of Na'Vi. Ghost, however, managed to already take down the tier 3 tower. He does so much damage. Korok having to Shadow Blade just to get away from there. And Ghost comes right back out. They have to pop this BKB, but he's going to die so quickly. Dendi takes him out before he's actually able to finish the BKB. Reverse Polarity goes out. They do manage to take down Dendi. Once again, he dies again, but he's generated the space. He took it out. He made sure that Host wasn't disabled the entire length by the black hole, and they kept Host alive. Again, the rest of Navi's team generating space for Host to utterly dominate. And good, he doesn't forget to use that Midas. Even in the throes of getting the racks down, he is going to use that Midas. 9-0 for Host. They take down the racks. They already have a set of racks essentially free here. There's no way that the Enigma and Magnus are going to come back into this. And they don't have their ults anyway, and that's what they would need to really take down this lifestealer. Wow, Host with almost no HP still feels confident enough that he can just jump right in and kill these guys. Maybe a little overconfident. Will this power shot do it? Oh, 2 health. 2 health is what he goes down to. Really good power shot from Fluff and stuff. I wonder if he even knows just how close he came to actually picking off Host there. Not that it would have been tremendously important. Host is finished with his Assault Cuirass and has 3.7k more gold. He is just utterly taking control of this game, and he would be able to buy back trivially and get right back into the action there if he so desired. His net worth at this point, 19,000 gold. He's almost triple anybody on Team Liquid. Korok tries to jump in, but even as a carry, he just has no tools available to him right now. Close is just taken apart their heroes everywhere, and their additional disables this blink from Puppy, another strong blink. He puts down the self-detection. Korok was trying to escape at low health with the Shadow Blade, and it wasn't quite enough because the Sentry Ward came out just in the way that he needed. Liquid have no tools left. They just simply do not have the raw power necessary to stop the assault from Na'Vi coming out here. They do quite a bit of damage to Puppy. I don't know what that actually was. He manages to blink out. Great blink by Puppy, avoiding the Keeper of the Light Illuminate. Fluff and Stuff is going to try to get away, but he's being chased by Dendi and by Light of Heaven. He does... Ooh... Wow, Arsart interrupts his teleport. The interruption of the teleport by Arsart, making sure that Fluff and Stuff. You can see Na'Vi, even when they've already won, they're still making huge plays. The disruption in the last 10th of a second of the TP out by the Windrunner means that the Windrunner dies, and the Liquid lose 5 heroes instead of 4. And Na'Vi going to take out the second set of racks. They can easily pick up their set of racks if they want. They could probably even throw it. Liquid has really no point. Yeah, and they call out the GG. Too much play from Na'Vi there. And really, you're a team that thinks, okay, we'll get some levels on our supports. We'll get the Blink, we'll get the Refresher on Magnus, and we'll just dominate team fights late. It's sometimes hard to realize against a team as strong as Na'Vi just how quickly you have to do all these things. Like, you have to do amazingly early. You have to set yourself up for the late game so early before Na'Vi just rolls you. Like, they're so strong, and they're so aggressive, and they're so willing to go in there and just finish and end the game that maybe you think that your time window to do all the goals that you have before you win is like 30-ish minutes, but really it's more like 15. Like before Host just comes pounding down your door with how much? With 800 GPM? If you're saying like, okay, we'll leave Host alone to farm and we'll dominate the other lanes, okay, maybe you will dominate the other lanes, but you can't leave him to farm for 30 minutes. You have to leave him to farm for like a very short time before you actually start roaming and stuff. And in this case, Liquid just, didn't get what they needed to get early enough that Na'Vi couldn't just roll them. And so, again, Dendi had a mission this game, and luckily, he's had an okay game, but certainly not like Oppa Dendi, like extremely high level. But he has these players to support him. He has this incredibly good support players. Like Arsart and Puppy had amazing games. There's 7-5 Shadow Demon. We got the 9-3 Lina. This was more than enough to create the space to get those ganks, to pick off that Enigma and delay that mechanism in a crucial way, to make sure the Magnus didn't get enough farm to actually get his Blink very quickly. And, by then, you're okay. You've delayed those enough that now your Lifestealer can participate. Now you can just dominate all these team fights and just, take what is rightfully yours. So an interesting series. I think Team Liquid did okay, but definitely still I think they still have some growing to do before they're able to really challenge Na'Vi on equal footing, which is fine. I mean, most teams can't, but definitely an exciting series. Definitely exciting to watch some of the dominance shown by the carry players in their respective games, and really just Na'Vi putting on a clinic in that last game of how to very cleanly take apart your opponent's game plan with strong ganking and just while developing your carry. So not just an all-in ganking strat of we pick 5 heroes and if we don't win in 15 minutes we lose, but giving an immense amount of space by concentrating your opponents in one area of the map while your carry farms in the opposite area of the map. And that's exactly what they did, and they end up with a lifesteal that's level 21 when the highest person on the opposing team is level 15. So great play, fun games today. That is probably the last game that I'm going to cast today. There may be more games on. Let me check out really quickly what the schedule is like. I will not be casting them, but there might be more for people to watch. Nope, that's it for the 2:45.